Fernando, who's from Chile, to talk a little bit about the lockdown and the situation in his country.
Hello, how are you? So we're gonna start with you introducing yourself quickly, just like where are you from? How do we know each other?
Right, so yeah, hi everyone. I'm Fernando Riveros. I'm actually at my parents' house back in Chile right now. I'm a second year economic student. That's where I met you two actually. At Cambridge. What else? Right now, the situation could be better, but I guess, we'll have to see how it keeps going from now.
Okay, so we were wondering if you could describe the overall current situation of your country.
All right, so I came back to Chile around March 28th for my birthday, and I just managed to get the last flight out of the UK actually before they closed the borders. And when I arrived, we were under full lockdown for 14 days, but then they, sort of released it a little bit. Some parts of the city were still under full lockdown, like the poshest part of the city were still under full lockdown, but some other, were starting to get a little bit more easy on. But then a couple of weeks back, like 2 weeks ago, a huge spike on, the number of infected people arise. So they started a full lockdown again, and we're currently under that full lockdown right now, as of June 7th.
How did the country handle the situation? Do you think it went well?
Some measurements were done poorly. Like at the beginning, they were refusing to do a full lockdown at the few first days. That would have helped, reduce the number of cases a lot. But right now, I guess the handling has been somewhat better. There's still some mishandling, especially around, the more vulnerable parts of the city where people are still under a lot of poverty, and they cannot just afford to be on full lockdown. You just can't do it.
So next we're gonna talk about your life related questions. So how do you stay on schedule or keep up with your habits?
Okay, so as you two, you know me a little bit. I'm not much of a schedule person. Yeah, it's been kind of hard, especially for me. I have ADHD, so like keeping a routine is part of what keeps me sane. So especially now, having to, deal with, what am I going to do next? Have some sense of, control over something. What's, trying to keep myself going.
Yeah, and have you been staying with like family, friends?
So literally since I arrived in March, I haven't been out of the house. I think like I've only been out of the house like twice. One to go to the supermarket, and one to literally say hello to my mom for like Mother's Day from like, across the street. Like couldn't even hug her or my sister. Just been full lockdown with my father and my brothers.
And also, could you please tell us about your favorite quarantine outfit and favorite drink?
Okay, so favorite quarantine outfit would be all my pajamas, because I haven't worn anything else. Like literally I wake up, I shower, and I just put on a clean pajamas, and then repeat the cycle every day. Some days if I'm feeling like really sporty, I will put on like a t-shirt and like actually go for a run or something, but that's it. I don't do much more than that. As for a favorite drink, I actually had to stop drinking alcohol while I'm quarantine, otherwise my brain was just going nuts. Like I just couldn't handle it. So favorite drink, I guess, green tea.
Speaking of healthy, have you been working out?
Pretty much, like I said, this quarantine is all about, having control over something. And I guess, for most people, they try to, I guess, to be, sane, we all need to feel control, like we're in control. And right now, keeping control of my body is like the only thing that actually, keeps me going. Like exercising right now has been really important. Like if I don't exercise one day, the next day I'm like, my brain's just going haywire. Like I can't do anything. I just feel like shit. So like being able to, keep working out and, keep my body to a certain standard is, really what's keeping me going.
Do you feel pressure to learn new skills, or have you learned any new skills?
That's something I've realized, especially, like going through my social media, like a lot of people is, like, we need to be more productive now that we're at home, we need to do more and better. And it's like, for me, it's been the total opposite. Like, it's like, I just want to do less, but I want to do it well. Like right now, I'm not going to perform my best. Like it's impossible. Like I'm just not as productive. So I'd rather do, 2 things good than try to do 20 and just get overwhelmed because I can't do any of them. So right now I'm just focusing on, doing the bare minimum, but actually doing it right.
Have you been like reading or like listening to podcasts, lives?
I've never been much of a podcast listener, but I have been reading one book called The Fifth Science. It's like sci-fi book that usually people is like, how can you know deal with that shit? You know, with everything that's going on, how can you just go spiraling down? It's like my brain is going to spiral down anyways, so may as well direct where it's going instead of just like having depression and like going all the way down and like feeling like shit. I'd rather spiral down to things that I actually like and like keep my brain going far away from everything. Yeah. YouTube videos always, trying to learn new shit that is non-related and like useless knowledge, but that's the kind of shit I like. So yeah.
Do you have any quarantine playlist or favorite music at the moment you're listening to?
I've been listening a lot to like Green Day when I work out because that, gets me like in the mood to work out. Even the days when I'm like, okay, I don't want to work out.
So have you been like doing anything during this quarantine that you would have never done if there wasn't this quarantine?
No, I just, been trying to push myself into staying sane. Like right now, like quarantine has been very demanding on my, mental health. So trying to, keep it calm. Like I'm a very like jumpy, like hyperactive. So like trying to keep calm right now, it's like, it's literally taking all of my effort. And some days you just can't. Some days you just like, you just lose the fight and there's always the next day to try and battle again. But yeah, it's hard.
About this, do you feel you are more bored than you usually are, or how do you cope with the situation?
Usually, you have like what I like to think of as like outside stimuli, like but come to you for control, like things, when a friend asks you, hey, can you help me out with this? And you're like, okay, I can go, put it under my control and, arrange that. Right now, I'm lacking all kind of outside stimuli. Like I'm not being bothered at all. Like it's all me. So right now it's like, how do I bother myself? Like I need to have some sense of normality, some sense of I am busy, I am being useful somewhat.
A lot of people have been saying that, being bored, you become like more creative and you get more ideas and everything. First of all, do you believe that if you're bored, you get more creative and everything? And do you think it happened for you?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Like boredom is definitely one of the things that, has inspired me to do most things in life. I believe like most of the things that I've done that are, like somewhat remarkable have come out of being like, I'm bored with what I'm doing right now, or like what I'm doing right now, just like not enough to keep me, entertained, and I just want to do something else. So everything that I do out of boredom. And the thing is, right now, boredom has me more creative. Like it has me, with more energy. I have more energy than ever, I would say. The thing is, I have nowhere to direct that energy right now. Like, I don't feel like, I mean, there are ways in which, I could do online stuff, but it's just, I don't feel motivated to do it. Like it's not the same when I'm outside and I feel like, okay, I see this one thing and I really want to do this one thing, and like it's this one thing that I want to direct my energy to. I just can't. Another thing is just not worth my effort. Like that's how I feel.
Yeah. You mentioned how hard is it to like keep on schedule and keep going. Do you feel anxious about the situation?
Especially when I'm not, like I said, there are some days, good and bad days. Like there's like as always, on some days you just lose and like you just can't win. Those days is hard. Like it's feeling like I haven't felt that way since like high school, and like high school was like terrible for me. Like I hated high school. And right now, like reliving those feelings is kind of shitty, but it's just like right now, at least I'm more mature and I'm not mature enough that I know it's just my brain, being like stupid for a while. And like, I know tomorrow it's going to be better. And I know, in a couple of months from now, it's going to get better. And I now, have the power to just, like, okay, forget about it. We'll try again tomorrow. We'll win tomorrow. Just, keep pushing.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about like being hopeful like this for the future. What do you think about the pandemic, like on a global scale? Economically speaking, do you think we're going to solve this pandemic? Do you think it's going to help solve some issues?
Start by saying I'm hopeful, not because I have any reason to be hopeful, but because it's the only thing I can do. Like right now, not being hopeful would just lead to me, being depressed and leading to more and more problems. Like right now, being hopeful is the only thing that we can do to say somehow. I know it sounds silly, but like, what's the point of not being hopeful? Like it's just destruction. Right now, being hopeful is the only constructive way in which we can push forward. economically, I guess, yeah, no, it's going to be really demanding, especially under the economy, all these loans being, thrown away, like, you're just basically printing money to, keep the recession going. But that money is, in some point, has to be paid. Somehow that debt has to be paid. Otherwise, we just don't. That's how the economy works. So, yeah, especially, studies like the Wall Street Journal saying that, is it actually worth it to be under full lockdown? Is the, like the welfare loss of under being full lockdown better than the loss of lives that we would have had? A study saying, it's actually like the death, volume, how you call it, like the death rate, it's actually way lower than, what some studies say. Like the initial estimations were way higher on the death rate that what they believe, orders of magnitude, like, from 3% to like 0.1. So is it actually worth it being under full lockdown? Like, research, we need more research, and we need more things to, decide what the best course of action is. Like, we can judge, I can, say, okay, Chile didn't do it well, or Chile did do it well, but we actually won't know until this is over. Be hopeful is like the only option I have, I think.
And speaking of relationships and relations, a lot of people reconnected with people that they've been friends with for a long time, but didn't have time to call, like grandparents or stuff like this. Have you reconnected with anyone, or like called friends or loved ones that you hadn't called for a long time, or stuff like this?
So I tried, reconnecting with some of my friends for a while, and, we played video games and all, but at the end, I'm just not much of a, video chat person. Like, I just can't do relationships that way. Like, for me, it's either, like, even when I text, my texts are like, yes, okay, sure. I just need, face to face. And like, I try, talking to my, friends from high school and stuff, but like, it's just not the same. And I think I'm better. I feel better off without trying to. Otherwise, it just feels like a burden to me. And I suck. Like, I'm a terrible friend, but it just feels like a burden trying to, keep a relationship that I'm not enjoying. So for me, I just, like, unless I can do it face to face, I just, it's too much of a, pain in the ass for me. I'm just a terrible friend.
Yeah, you are not, by the way. Thank you so much for joining us today as well. We are coming to the end slowly, but maybe one more question. Is there any pit or highlights of the quarantine you would mention?
Oh yeah, like especially after as you both know, a couple of weeks back, but a couple of weeks back, yeah, I had a surgery. I was diagnosed with appendicitis, so I had to get my appendix removed. And the week after, that was hell. Like, I just couldn't handle it. Like, I was just wanted to kill myself all the time. That they took away from me, like, the two things that were keeping me going. I couldn't exercise. I just had to stay in bed. That meant, my brain was going just stupid fast, and like, I just couldn't do anything about it. And I just couldn't eat the foods that I like, which is, the other thing that I actually, expected to. Like, I was looking for, like, during the quarantine, I look forward to two things, my workout and the things that I'm gonna eat. And getting those two things taken away from you, you just feel like I was like in prison. Like, I just couldn't get out of my own head. And like, that week was hell. Like, yeah, that was definitely a pit. As for a highlight, I would actually have to say, like, every day has, like a little thing, like it's mindfulness, like, you just focus on that one thing that you're doing. Like, I don't know, if I'm, working out and it's really hard, but that thing is like, it's so hard that you can actually focus on anything else. And your brain is just, I need to pick up those weights. It's like the only thing that your brain can think of. And like an hour later, your brain is still thinking about, like those weights, they were hard. And like, that's it. Like, you're not, nothing else is bothering you, just the thing in front of you. That's, I would say, is my highlights. Like, whenever, I just kind of forget for a second the situation I'm in, and it's just like the thing in front of me. That just feels great.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
No,
sorry, that's the end. It was amazing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no,
it was
no
lovely.
problem. Anytime.